I've heard your stories. I've witnessed the hardships. We've all seen the aftermath of Harvey Hurricane. Are you prepared? Let's talk disaster preparedness and recovery. We are all Texans recovering together. We all remember the reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you? What have we all truly learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30, where we discuss ways to connect the community to services and resources to help you recover. We are all Texans recovering together. We all remember the news reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you now? What have we really learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30 as we discuss ways to plan and prepare for hurricane season, where we also connect the community to resources and services to help you recover from disasters. We are all Texans recovering together. Hello there, Facebook Live audience, and thank you for joining me, Teresa Davis, your host, for another episode of Texas Recovering Together. Today, it's going to be all about recapping the partners, the businesses, the nonprofits that have come on to the show previously to share with us services, programs, resources that they have to offer you. Again, because our crisis counseling program at Region 5 ends on October the 31st, we believe that this was the absolute best way to make sure that we can now connect and link you to the services that will be here long after October 31st, where you can go and get the most current, most recent information, where you can ask questions and find out what's necessary to help you and your community recover. But again, I wanted to take this time to thank you for joining me once again for another episode. And while our program will indeed end on the 31st, I want to just recap for a moment. Take a look at this. Tell our audience about Region 5, how the crisis counseling program came about.
Let me answer the question that everyone is dying to know, first of all. Okay. What is a Region 5?
There we go.
Okay, so let's start with that. Region 5 is an educational service center. And the easiest way for me to get people to understand what it is we are one of the 20 regional offices that Texas Education, TEA, has. And most people are familiar with Texas Education. And so what we do is we provide professional development and technical assistance to school districts, right, in 6 counties. We serve a 6-county area. Now, you might be asking, if you work with school districts, how did you get into this program?
Exactly.
That's the same question we've been asking too, right? How did you get into this? And so the crisis counseling program, Region 5 has been around for a long time, since the 60s. Okay. The crisis counseling program has also been around for many years. And some of your audience might remember having this program doing Katrina, Rita, Ike, and now doing Harvey. So this program comes to us whenever we have a storm, and a lot of folks in our area are impacted by it, as in Harvey.
Right.
And traditionally, this program has gone to the mental health facilities. But this year, they decided to do something differently in that they let the service centers, Region 5 Education Service Centers, and we weren't the only service centers, there are about 4 others across Texas, that they let us implement this program this year. So that's how we got into it. It's new to us. It's been a great opportunity for us to serve the community. It's been even a better opportunity for us to connect with partners and community members that we normally don't work with. And we've enjoyed having this program at the service center.
And let me just add to that. Thank you, Ms. Thomas. That I serve under Ms. Thomas's leadership as team leader and community liaison for the 6 counties that we service throughout this grant, which would be those 6 counties.
Jefferson, Jasper, Orange, Hardin, Tyler, and Newton County.
Oh, good job, Ms. Thomas. Absolutely. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about the initial goals that were set for the crisis counseling program.
The crisis counseling program is an outreach program, okay? And it's mostly to provide those individuals that are having trouble with their emotional distress or stress from all the changes that occur from being impacted by a storm or a hurricane or any kind of disaster. We all know that when something hits you and all of the cameras are gone and everyone has gone home that's here in our communities, the survivors are still left to try and put their lives back together.
Yeah.
And so what this program is all about is, number one, dealing with those emotional needs that the survivors might have and helping them with those emotional needs. But we are also realizing that in order to help people with their emotional needs, we need to provide other kinds of resources for them.
You are the senior pastor at Harvest for Lost Souls Outreach Ministry.
Yes.
You also have a history and a background in disaster recovery.
Yes, I am Somebody Cares America representative of Southeast Texas, which I became a part of 12 years ago. We're a worldwide ministry that does disaster response and disaster recovery. Matter of fact, we're first responders to any hurricane or tornado, anything that happens. Matter of fact, a team is launching right now to North Carolina, helping them out.
Oh, wow. We certainly want to make sure that we remember the families and the communities in the Carolinas. We know what it's like to be impacted as such, and we certainly want to give time and a moment to consider what they're going through and offer any support and help that we can. So thank you for being a part of Somebody Cares. Thank you for being willing to be a first responder in that. Let's talk a little bit more about your involvement and impact with Hurricane Harvey and what you do with Harvest at Lost Souls.
Well, Harvest for Lost Souls, our motto is find the need and fill it, find the hurt and heal it. Once the disaster came to our area, we took first responders and we ministered to many needs. We had approximately 95 18-wheelers came in from Hurricane Harvey. One donation of 10,000 My Pillows came to support the whole Golden Triangle. Our church took damage, but it wasn't to a full extent. Our church felt like we needed to reach out to other areas that were affected more. So we are beginning to adopt areas like Nome, Alvesta, and places that took more damage than we had taken here in Beaumont. So we were very interested in making sure that they recovered.
That's awesome. And I have actually had the privilege of being escorted by Pastor Kennedy and a few of our communities, Nome for one, and the El Vista community in Jefferson County. And it's because of his involvement with the community and the information that he has and those relationships that he has built that he was able to take me throughout those communities so we could get a close-up look and see how our crisis counseling program could respond to some of those unmet needs. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Harvest for Lost Souls Outreach Ministry right now, post Hurricane Harvey.
You know, we've kind of done a lot of disaster recovery response into distribution, which is people have kind of recovered a little bit. Now we've been blessed by some of our covenant partners like Miss Teresa. We identified a school, Lucius Adams Elementary School in Port Arthur that was affected by Hurricane Harvey. And now next week, October the 2nd, we're adopting them with Somebody Cares Beanie Babies, and we're also going to, it's 585 kids. We're going to go do Beanie Babies, and we're going to give school supplies to the kids. They just went back into their school this year, And so I got directed by somebody else that they had just went back to their school, many needs, and so the distribution of school supplies and Beanie Babies that we got from Somebody Cares will go to that school on October 2nd, and we'll do a big assembly, and we'll bring 548 kids together.
Wow.
We'll put Beanie Babies, we'll put pencils, we'll put crayons, and just do a great job because of partnership with so many people like your organization.
Oh, that is awesome. Tell our audience again the date and the location to where they could either receive services and resources that they need, or to actually come and just be a part and volunteer.
It's Staff Sergeant Lucius Adams Elementary School. Okay. It's, I think, 5901 9th Avenue in Port Arthur, Texas. This school is they're just going back into their school.
Wow.
They've been out an entire year from water that was damaged through Hurricane Harvey. And we get to go and be a blessing to them as they come back into their school this year. And that's October the 2nd, from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. And we're bringing a team from Harvest for Lost Souls. We're bringing a team of other volunteers who would love to be a part of that, just so we can just say, hey, I know that Harvey affected you, but we're helping you to continue to recover.
That is truly, truly awesome. And thank you again for all the work that you've done and you continue to do in the community. I've had the privilege of participating at a senior nights event, and let me tell you, it is awesome. Pastor Deanna Andrews, First Lady, couldn't be here with us today, but she is a dynamic First Lady, and I've had the pleasure of being with her while she facilitated the Senior Nights program. And listen, if you know seniors in your community that need an outlet or need a place to belong, or just want to come and have dinner, you all serve dinner, you play games. I mean, you truly, truly do serve, and you have that compassion and serve them. Come out and join Harvest of Lost Souls. Where is that taking the date again?
That's next Thursday. Okay. Next Thursday is senior night, and we will be able to, it's homecoming night. So if the seniors went to BCP, they went to Hebert, whatever school they were a part of, they get to come back in and celebrate their school. And we're going to have homecoming, so we have free catered meal. They have fun. We play all kind of games with the seniors. So 60 and over, 5:30 to 7:30 that night, we have senior night.
Here today from Hardin County, we have Pastor David Kudrin with Spiritual Care Crisis Counseling. Good morning, Pastor David.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Why don't you go ahead and tell our Texas Recovering Together live audience a little bit more about your role with Hardin County Strong?
My role with Hardin County Strong is to connect people with the counseling they need. They've suffered trauma from floods, and not only lost houses and cars and property, but there's a spiritual house that has to be rebuilt. And my mission is to find the people out there. We had 4,000 homes underwater in Hardin County, and many of them, I go door to door, passing out flyers, inviting people into counseling. And I may be at one house, and I'm looking at a house that's being restored, and there's 5 around me that are still sitting there. I know that those houses represent people.
That's right.
They represent homes that have been destroyed, but lives that have been shattered. And they're suffering trauma, and a lot of them have not considered going to counseling. So my mission is to get those people connected with someone who can offer them spiritual care. We have people that are just friends, people that are church folk, and we have people that we can direct them to that are licensed counselors that will do amazing things. One of them is Charles Olive, and an amazing counselor, and I'll be offering more information about him where they can go and hear him. But that is our mission, to connect people with the spiritual care they need.
And it's a great work that you all are doing and that you have done. I have had the privilege to meet with you all, Spiritual Care Crisis Counseling team, on several occasions throughout this crisis counseling grant. And just sitting among you all, just to hear the vision and the scope of what you desire to do for the community. I mean, you know, extending the opportunity to participate in active listening for one, but then offer prayer. And you found that there are many, many individuals that, you know, they need more than just the physical needs. You are addressing those spiritual needs. Can you share a little bit more about what your experience has been and how the community has been receptive to the spiritual care crisis counseling?
Yes, we have a call center, and if I could give the number.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The call center number, if you would like some counseling, you can call 409-209-5380 and leave a message for us, and someone, a counselor, will get back with you, and they will help you, they'll pray with you, they'll discuss and listen, and also offer places you can go to get some counseling.
So many of my guests that joined me on Texas Recovering Together brought about energy, positivity, but also informative information. So I wanted to make sure that you stay tuned on Texas Recovering Together. Let's take another look at a recap from a previous guest.
Let's talk a little bit more about United Way and what inspired you to become president and CEO.
Well, I actually started this position in January of 2017, and I've always been very involved in the community and always wanted to give back, so it was kind of a natural fit for me.
Okay.
I have a lot of connections in the community, and so it was a great opportunity for me, and I was very excited. Who knew a few months later that Harvey was going to hit?
Right, right. Okay, so United Way is all about improving lives and communities through education, health, financial stability, and etc. Tell us more about what you do and you know, to accomplish this goal.
Sure. What we do is we work with 22 partner agencies that support individuals in the areas you just mentioned: health, education, and financial stability. That's the focus of our agencies, and those agencies are located throughout Orange County, and we also have some agencies that are in Jefferson County, but they serve individuals from Orange County. And so we work with corporate partners and individuals to raise funds to support those partner agencies. We provide them funding and training opportunities and networking opportunities and just various support as we can.
Wow, wow, that's pretty amazing. Now, I know that you've all been very involved since the impact or in response to Hurricane Harvey. Let's discuss a little bit more about the support to include many outside of Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Georgia. Tell us more about that.
So our Harvey story started actually as soon as Harvey finally stopped raining on Orange County. We had our phones forwarded to my cell phone because our office actually got about 12 to 14 inches of water ourselves.
Wow.
So we were displaced, but the phones, I think we had about 350 phone calls in the first 10 days. A lot of those were individuals asking where they could get assistance, but we got a lot of phone calls from outside of the area asking how they could help, how they could send supplies, where do they send supplies.
Amazing.
And so we set up at the Salvation Army in Orange County, and we utilized their gym and their employees and us and any individuals that were willing to help, and we distributed a lot of supplies from that site. Our estimates are about $188,000 worth of in-kind donations were distributed after Harvey between bottled water, cleaning supplies, diapers, food, lots of different items. We also received some furniture, some sheetrock, so a lot of different things that we were able to get out to people. And that's just in stuff, in materials and supplies and donations. We had also started a Harvey collection for monetary funds, and so we've collected. Now we are almost at $600,000 for Orange County with those funds.
Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing, Maureen. That is amazing. Now, I just heard you say that Salvation Army is one of your partners. Can you tell us a little bit more about who might some of your other partners be?
Yes, as I mentioned, we have 22 partner agencies. The Salvation Army is one. Friends Helping Friends is one in Orange County. You're going to make me name them all. I don't want to leave anybody out. But we have a lot of partner agencies that in Jefferson County, we've got Samaritan Counseling is located in Port Arthur. We've got Southeast Texas Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse. They have 3 different programs that we support. Meals on Wheels in Orange, Southeast Texas Hospice, a variety of agencies.
So, I need you to share with our audience a little bit more about the vision for outreach, for iConnect Outreach Ministry.
iConnect Outreach absolutely loves to help people who are devastated by hurricanes or natural disasters. Just anything that could disrupt your life in the area of housing, emotion. We want to be there to help you. We want to be there to journey with you, to give you that hope that you think you've lost. And when we do that by partnering with families one-on-one. We journey through the process of construction, repair of their homes.
Okay.
If they have other needs, we try to partner them with other organizations, many that you're talking about now. And our goal is to just bring people home, get them out of those trailers that they're living in. A lot of people still live in tents.
I've seen it for myself throughout this federally funded grant with Region 5. We have been in the community, and we've seen a lot of the houses that are either abandoned or we've assessed communities where you have families now living together. They're in hotels, they are in the trailers. But I want you to tell us what started this ministry, because this is awesome. I mean, we're talking about rebuilding homes, we're talking about rebuilding lives. So what was the motivation behind iConnect?
Okay, I'm going to give you the fast version, because I know that's what you really want. I don't want to eat up all your Facebook time. 2008, Hurricane Ike, Galveston, Texas.
Okay.
I was pastoring a church on the island of Galveston. I was living on the island, had my family there. And when Ike came through, it devastated our entire ministry.
Wow.
100% of our families were affected by the hurricane. Our personal home was destroyed. And so we had the option to either stay in the community and serve or leave and go find another job. Our family discussed it, we prayed about it, and we decided that it was more important to stay and serve the community. So that's what we did. And iConnect actually came out of a personal need that turned into ministering to over 10,000 people.
Oh, wow. Now, that leads me into my next question when we're talking about the leadership or the team that actually makes up iConnect. Let's talk about what it takes to be a part of that, and perhaps what you're looking for when you're looking for volunteers. Do they have to operate with that in that capacity as well, having the passion and...
Passion helps, always helps. But we will work with anyone who has a heart to serve people.
Okay.
We work a lot with faith-based organizations. That's our primary connection point.
Okay.
Coming from the pastor background, it's a natural connection.
Absolutely.
But we also are very, very interested in working with humanitarian groups, local just families who didn't get devastated.
Okay.
Maybe their neighbors did. Well, we are there to connect the dots to help people who just want to serve.
Sort of like, because the work that we do with Region 5's crisis counseling program is similar or cohesive to what you do. You all are the organization that when we realize that there's some professional help needed, we refer them to you. We've heard awesome things about what you do, and again, it's just a privilege to sit and have you today to share with our Facebook Live audience more about the services that you provide. So let's talk a little bit about the mission of Samaritan Counseling.
Samaritan has been in existence locally for over 35 years, and our primary goal is to really look at the mental health and wellness of our community. And we know that there's always these ups and downs and ebbs and flows to concerns that people may have, but especially after a huge event such as Harvey, our community was significantly traumatized by that.
And I'm sure, as we have discovered, there are a lot of people that they tend to shy away from counseling. It's not like the first thing that they're running to, but we have discovered it is definitely one of the main things that they need to help them in the recovery process. Have you two identified that?
What we've begun to see is that initially people are wanting sheetrock and their floors fixed and things like that. But the research shows that 18 to 24 months after an event is whenever the mental health of our community is really going to see an impact. And so as people continue to get back into their homes, into their businesses, back to their jobs, then the mental health of their is what they're going to begin to look for. So that's whenever counseling centers and mental health facilities are going to be able to see a rise in the need for services.
And are you saying that that's something that you all have seen, like it's increased? Are you aware of the increase when there's any triggers? Like, for instance, it starts to rain, or I was speaking of in the beginning of Texas Recovering Together today about the anniversary date. That was a major trigger for people. And then have you seen an increase in calls and services based on what's happening in Carolina?
All of those things have been triggers, and so if you kind of remember, we haven't really had a day without rain,
right?
In several months, and so our community continues to call. We hear teachers talk about their students having fears of their homes flooding while they're gone, and so. These are all triggers that our community continues to deal with, and so our counseling staff, not just at Samaritan, but at so many other counseling centers across our community, we're full, and so it gives us a great heartbreak to see that we aren't able to give those services to our clients as quickly as we would want to.
I want you to take some time and let our audience and the community know what inspired you to bring this amazing program, the Dream Center of Southeast Texas, here.
Well, my wife and I had worked at the original Dream Center in Los Angeles. I was there for 14 years.
Wow.
She was there for 17.
Okay.
We had a daughter that lived here, and so God was kind of stirring our hearts to transition.
Okay.
And my daughter had sent me an email and said, "Daddy, I know you're doing a great job, but do you think you could do it someplace closer?" So as a father of a daughter, that kind of resonated with me, and all of a sudden God had spoken to our heart and said that Beaumont needs a Dream Center. Now, our vision of Beaumont was like a sleepy little bedroom town, you know, that you pass through on the way to somewhere. So I didn't really think that Beaumont needed a Dream Center until I started researching the demographics. And it just really blew me away that the huge need that is here. And so immediately we started making preparations to come. We moved here January of 2017, started our outreaches in March of 2017. Started first partnering with Beaumont Housing Authority, and just began to grow from there.
Oh wow, oh wow. So for the people who don't know the mission or the vision, tell us about that for the Dream Center of Southeast Texas.
Absolutely. We're excited to serve people. I mean, that's just really our vision, that we want to be able to help people that are hurting and help them heal and get back on their feet. And in fact, our motto is building a better tomorrow, making a difference today.
Oh, wow.
And that's really what we go about doing. So basically, we're a nonprofit organization that uses faith-based principles to help people overcome anything from poverty, such as we'll do outreaches where we give away food, clothing, supplies, all the way up to including residential services.
Oh, wow.
And in fact, right after Harvey, our first giveaway after Harvey, we had 24 pallets of supplies, gave away to 400 people that were actually standing in line waiting in the rain.
Wow, wow. Now, I have to ask, because I know being in Southeast Texas, you all were here when Harvey struck, and many of us were impacted in some way. Can you tell us about the impact that you witnessed firsthand?
Yes. I lived in California for the past 14 years, and so the biggest thing you had to worry about there was earthquakes. And
what about the mudslides too? There's mudslides going on and wildfires.
There are wildfires. Where we were living close to downtown, so we didn't really have to worry so much about the mudslides.
Okay.
But rain was pretty much non-existent for the most part. I grew up in Oklahoma, very much used to thunderstorms, but hurricanes, oh my gosh. It was like a 48-hour thunderstorm, that I'd never experienced. And we had to evacuate. The deputies came to our place and had us evacuate. And so we didn't know what to do. But as it turns out, it was fortunate we had bought an RV trailer to come out here because we had to evacuate in that. And it was a week or so before we got back in, and then found out on Facebook by watching live that somebody was taking a boat down our road past our home that was under about 6 feet of water.
Wow.
So we lost everything.
Oh, goodness.
And but the silver lining in all of that is that losing everything teaches you to trust God completely.
Wow.
And so when we signed the lease for this facility out at 69, the old TYC facility that is going to require hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in rehab, it's like, okay, it's a God thing.
Okay.
Camera and audio's rolling. Action in 3, 2.
Welcome back to Texas Recovering Together with me, your host, Teresa Davis. Over the last few months, I've had the privilege of sitting down with many members from your local community. We've had discussions about programs and services and resources that I know you all could benefit from. It was certainly the hope for Region 5's crisis counseling program that we could bring this to you live. That before our program ends on October the 31st, that we could provide a different way of servicing communities to help you all recover. And I believe we've done just that. I've been very proud to interview all of the guests that have come onto the show. But again, our Region 5 crisis counseling program could not have been successful without all of the outreach. Thanks to our crisis counseling workers, we were out in your community throughout those 6 counties, bringing to you referrals and resources. So while we're privileged to come to you on Texas Recovering Together, we know that it's a collective effort that has made this program a success. And again, we have more recaps for you. Let's revisit that right now. Stay tuned.
As I understand, you all do a lot of work throughout the community, established September 2015, faith-based organization, and with that comes a major responsibility and a huge mission. Tell me what that mission is.
Our mission basically is to work with churches and individuals and volunteers all over this community to pull together to build bridges of hope for those that want to develop in spiritual, professional, and individual development in their lives.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about your personal involvement with Bridges of Hope.
As the executive director of the Bridges of Hope, I get the opportunity to work with volunteers that come with a passion to serve others. A passion whereas they get to teach or mentor or do Bible study, or they help in the office or whatever areas that we have open.
Okay. So when we talk about personal and professional development, tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay. When you talk about personal development, as you see, we start off with there's times in people's lives that they feel hopeless.
Absolutely.
They don't know where to go, where to turn, what's going on in their lives. For instance, when you think about the questions you asked, what's next after Harvey? There are people that there were already situations in their lives, and then all of a sudden, after Harvey, it's like, what's next?
What's next?
And so that's what Bridges of Hope offers. You may come in for our 12-week program, and in Bible study, there's job skills. It depends on the community needs, parenting or basic computer skills. Those are the kind of things we offer. And what's so beautiful is that you may have anywhere from 14 different churches and organizations that are in that room on their own time, giving of themselves, which is what we all are about here, is to work together.
Bridges of Hope, that's awesome. Now you also have an educational support team that's made up of a dream team. Tell us a little bit more about that dream team.
On the educational support program with the dream team, Gail Showalter is the one that leads that particular program, and it's for single moms. And we are so glad and excited to announce that we actually have a single mom that's in a program right now where she's going back to school at Lamar to obtain her degree. While she's doing that, there's housing assistance and there's financial assistance to help her so she can be successful, so that she can become independent, self-sufficient through Christ, of course, but self-sufficient so that she can get a better job and be able to provide for her family the way she wants to.
Okay. And I understand that you also supply or help them to acquire employment. You have an job course. Tell us more about that.
With the Job Corps, that's inclusive of our Christian Women's Job Corps 12-week program. And what we do with that is we teach soft skills, resume writing, how to present yourself when you're talking, 3-minute elevator speech, how should I hire you, those types of things, communication skills. And what we do is we resource and we refer. We may have Texas Workforce Commission come in, or Goodwill, or different agencies. Because one thing we realize is that we cannot do this by ourselves. So that's why it takes the community to make this successful.
Absolutely. And what about the community relationships? I know that, of course, with your vision, as you already explained to us, and we know that it takes a whole community to make a difference, a collective difference. I've had the pleasure of running into Nehemiah's vision while out in the field doing community assessments with Region 5's crisis counseling program. And let me tell you, you all are busy at work.
Yes, we are. Very busy.
Yeah, you're very busy, and you're just doing an awesome job. And I know the work is far from being over.
Oh, yes.
There's so many people that need housing repairs. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Nehemiah's vision and your involvement?
At Nehemiah's Vision, we are a faith-based disaster recovery ministry. So we were formed back in 2005 after we saw the need with Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
And then, of course, Rita hit this area. So we are, like I said, a faith-based organization. We partner volunteers from the area or from all over the country.
Okay.
And we partner their skills, do a skills assessment with them, and then partner them with a project for applicants that have applied for home repair services. So with Nehemiah's Vision, I am the Associate Director of Administration. So I handle the offices. We have an office in Vidor, our main office, and then we have an office in Port Arthur at 2920 Lake Arthur Drive inside Ridgewood Baptist Church.
Okay.
And so I handle the offices, and I handle the comptroller, so I handle all the finances. And,
I can imagine what your calls are like. Tell us what a day is like for you, because let's go to pre-Harvey. How was it for you pre-Harvey, getting those phone calls and connecting with the community? What was that like?
Well, okay, so pre-Harvey, like I said, we were active with Rita and Ike, and we repaired a little over 1,200 homes, with 100 of those homes being built from the ground up.
Oh, wow.
And we did go dormant in 2011. We had gotten all those repairs completed, and so, our organization just kind of went dormant for a little bit. But then as soon as Harvey happened, our board and just immediately got back together, and we got everything going. So Harvey hit end of August of 2017, and by November we had volunteers in homes working and repairing homes. So you had to go through that little gut out, mud out process, let everything dry out. And so we've had volunteers on the ground since November. We've had a little over 2,200 volunteers that have come from all over the country to repair homes.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, with a mission such as Nehemiah's Vision, it takes many hands and it takes many members in the communities to make this happen. And so I can imagine that during that time, after Rita, the phones probably weren't ringing as much because there was a new sense of normalcy that was already established. And then here we go with Harvey, and it's like, what was a day like for you all in the office after that?
It was a little crazy, a little hectic. Trying to put pieces back together, because we had calls not only coming from homeowners that needed repairs, but we had hundreds of calls from volunteers that are like, we know you need help, how can we come in, when can we come in? So you're coordinating calendars for both and trying to get it all done. We have been very blessed, very blessed.
And I can imagine just the participants wanting to help, because again, we've seen with our crisis counseling program that in some areas there may have been a few streets that we could canvass and they were fine. They didn't need any help, or if they did, they wouldn't, say that they needed help. There was no physical external damage to the house. So they would say, go a few streets over. This person or that person needs help. And please, what is it all about, Meredith?
Well, the tool bank exists to make it incredibly easy for disaster recovery organizations to equip their volunteers with all the tools they need. We loan out things like chainsaws, hammers, tables, chairs, even generators, and things like post drivers. Anything that's needed to make an event to support disaster relief or even rebuild homes and muck and gut them as well, just as easy as possible for folks trying to put people back into their homes.
Oh, wow. So not only do you guys loan the tools, so you're saying for housing repairs, you have two specifically for the mucking and the gutting, and...
We sure do. We have wheelbarrows, we have post hole diggers, we've got everything available to make sure that folks can get into their homes as easily as possible, and to make sure that 600 volunteers can be equipped to have everything they need. That way, no one's sharing a ladder between 20 people, no one's sharing one drill between 30, and all the other little logistics and nightmares that pop up during big repairs like this.
Now, as far as Tool Bank goes, when was it first established?
Well, the tool bank itself was established back in the early 90s in Atlanta. Our CEO at the time realized that he had so many tools in his garage that were just being used once and sitting there for months at a time after he had gone out to build playgrounds, clean up neighborhood parks, and anything else he was doing in the area. So he said to himself, it's time that something happens with these tools, and from that came the Atlanta Tool Bank. And from there on, several national branches appeared, such as the Houston location. And now we have our satellite location here in Port Arthur.
Yeah. Tell us about Orange County Disaster Rebuild. What is that all about, and how did you get started?
So Orange County Disaster Rebuild actually created sometime after the storm, and one of the things that we were, I worked for the county, I worked for Orange County, and so we had FEMA come in and say, you know, to be able to get the funds that are needed for your county, we need, you need to create a long-term recovery group. And what that consists of is 5 committees combined into one. And so those committees, once you form them, it works together for the county to help bring in those funds. And a lot of the big organizations and plants, especially outside of Southeast Texas, they like to see these long-term recovery groups form because they work closely with disaster case management, which actually goes in and case manages each individual family or individual that needs services, and that way we are vetting them to make sure to get down to exactly what their unmet need is. And so we are mirroring some great long-term recovery groups that we were privileged for them coming in and actually mentoring us, and it's one from Joplin, Missouri, after the Missouri tornadoes there. And then actually the Bastrop fires back in 2015. And Christine Files was there in Bastrop, and she created the long-term recovery group then, and she came down and mentored us exactly how we need to do that to be able to help the needs of our
kind of put it together, and put the structure and
put the structure together. And so we were very fortunate to have her and then Stephanie Brady's from Joplin. And so those two ladies were a big inspiration to us in Orange County and Hardin County. For Hardin County Strong, they came in and actually helped us create this, our long-term recovery group.
That is awesome. I know that when we initially started our Region 5 crisis counseling program, you were all one of the first organizations that had your meetings, your town hall meetings, and you know, you had the gatherings at the emergency management office off of, is that
1442.
1442, and you brought together all of the people from the community, and we were able to talk, and you know, they got into the committees that they were interested in, and you all were bringing it together. You did such an awesome job as a host in bringing it together. I want to know more about your role, your specific role, and what you have done and what you're doing right now. What's going on with the long-term recovery group?
Well, sure. I mean, we have, I want to just give a shout out to our community. We have just all come together to create this long-term recovery group. Our county judge and our commissioners are backing us, plus our emergency management. So we're very fortunate in that. And so we were able to create our committees, which one of the committees is unmet needs. And so what we've done, we've already had several unmet needs meetings, and that is consist of all the community resources come together at a table, and we have our disaster case managers that come in and actually present a case. And so we were fortunate enough that we have 3 or 4 case manager teams, which is we have Endeavors, St. Vincent de Paul, Catholic Charities, and Disaster Ministries, which is funded by UMCOR.
Oh, really?
And so they are all able to come in, and after they do a case management and they need funding, they come to our unmet need. And so, like I said, that committee consists of all of the people that are there are willing to help, you know, either with monetary, skilled labor. So those unmet needs will be able to be met. And so
My role, I'm a supervisor, program director for recovery support services. That's for substance abuse, mental health. And what we do is we meet people wherever they are, emotionally, whether it's substance abuse, and we help them to develop a plan, you know, wellness plan to recover. And what we found because of Harvey, there are some people who were affected by the storm who already had issues. And then Harvey compounded some of the problems they were having. Like, for instance, if somebody had schizophrenia, now they have a major depression problem because here comes Harvey. They have to be displaced from a comfortable environment. And now they're having to go somewhere where they're not familiar with. And that's one of the things that we try to do to help people is to just get them stabilized. And so when you have to uproot them from their natural environment to help them go somewhere where they can be safe, it just challenges them. And so what we've done is we've gone out to meet people wherever they were, if they were in a different community, to help them continue to maintain some sense of normalcy. And oftentimes, I'm talking about parents who have children who have issues also, because we have one department, we call it Daybreak. They have 1,100 kids who have mental health or substance abuse problems.
What are the age groups?
Age from 5 to 18. And we have another program that have recovery support services, YRC is what we called it, and that stands for Youth Recovery Community. And we have several different partners that we meet monthly, and we talk about the different issues that some of our kids have. And we go out to Minnie Rogers and help the kids over there who are in detention. We work on the adult side with Judge Holmes, helping him. But people just have some issues behind the storm that they are still, recovering from. I too was affected by the storm. And I remember going out in my community and doing a presentation to represent the veterans. I'm a veteran. So I went out and one of Air Force. Okay. Is there another? No. Oh, I'm sorry. But so I went out and I was talking about the psychological effects of post-Harvey, because we know we were here when Rita hit and when Katrina hit. And from those experiences, we've learned that the post-Harvey episode is more long lasting. There's still people trying to recover from Katrina 12 years later. And so as we were talking with people about, doing things with the kids, because the parents are hustling and bustling, trying to get things together. And sometimes the kids are overlooked, but the key thing is to have games for them, have some fun stuff to help them connect to some sense of normalcy also. And so we went out to some schools and different communities doing things with kids, and we still do that. Most of the people have, since a year ago, have developed systems to where they are functioning.
Throughout Texas, statewide.
The whole state.
Yeah, and it sounds like you have a lot going on, and I couldn't wait to get to it. So I know that this is funded by the Department of Education, and you also deal with the Office of Special Education.
Right.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about special education and the programs that you all specifically offer with Partners Resource Network.
Partners Resource Network is the major nonprofit, the umbrella organization. As everybody knows, Texas is a large state. And so what we have in Texas, every state and territory in the United States has at least one parent training and information center. That's kind of a little subset of what we are.
Okay.
Texas, being large, has 3 of them, which makes sense. We have a lot of population, a lot of people to serve.
Right.
Actually, California, Texas, and Florida have 3 PTIs.
Oh, wow.
I am the director of one of the 3 in Texas. I'm the director of the PATH project.
Okay.
We've got to delineate for the government which areas we're serving.
Okay.
So my project serves about 1/3 of the state of Texas. So I'm actually all of ESC 5.
I saw
6,
that.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
Oh,
so
my
1/3 of the
goodness.
state. Team Project serves Houston, San Antonio, all the way to the Valley, and there's a project called PEN up in the northern corner, West Texas area that serves counties. But our role is to provide training and information, just what it sounds like, a parent training center, to parents that have youth with disabilities and those youth that have disabilities. We can't always have our parents doing everything for us.
Right.
So our
That's
role
right.
is to help those youth become empowered as well in their educational educational, transitional, life skill type services. They're not going to be in school forever. So what are we going to do after that?
Right. And I know my first contact with your organization was earlier this year through our Region 5 Crisis Counseling Program. There was an event that was hosted off of I-10 at the Holiday Inn, and we all had a table set up there, and we came across, excuse me, some of your staff members there, and they were, you know, handing out the brochures and the pamphlets. And what we found with our crisis counseling program, because we took your information back.
Right.
Our grant covers 6 counties, and we took that information back out throughout all of the 6 counties when we made assessments, and we found that a lot of people were excited to know that you exist. However, they weren't fully informed. So today, I want to make sure that they know exactly what you do. When we talk about services for parents with children of disabilities, let's talk a little bit more about what type of services.
Well, with us, because we serve the entire state, obviously we need quite a few people to do that. Never funded enough to have enough people to do everything you want to do, right? So we also need volunteers that help us out. But there is at least one regional coordinator. That's the designation and title we give to the staff that is responsible and becomes somewhat of the expert in that area. Because as you know, there's going to be a whole lot different set of services available for parents and youth in Region 5 than there would be in Dallas, Fort Worth. There's just more physical therapists, speech therapists.
Thank you so much to our state partners in Austin for all the work that you've done to help make our Region 5 ESC Crisis Counseling Program a success. We also could not have done this without the leadership that has been set in place to make sure that our crisis counseling program was successful. And certainly last but not least, our crisis workers. It is because of your outreach, service, and commitment, your door-to-door encounters, and your dedication to make sure that we provide updated, current, reliable resources and referrals to the communities that we serve. So again, I want to say thanks to all of you, because without all of you, there would be no Texas Recovering Together. And again, as your host, Teresa Davis, I'm privileged and honored to have had this opportunity to sit with you Facebook Live each and every Friday. Again, thank you. I've heard your stories. I've witnessed the hardships. We've all seen the aftermath of Harvey Hurricane. Are you prepared? Let's talk disaster preparedness and recovery. We are all Texans recovering together.